Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. So, two for the price of one today. Two things I want to highlight in one video. Uh, First off, I guess what just maybe wanted to like drive home is that maybe what you think of me like spending a lot of time when we have our sessions every couple weeks. I spend a lot of time talking about the state of the market and just basically how it helps me form my biases for trades on a day-to-day basis. And whether or not you have a strong opinion of what the SPY or the Qs are going to do on a certain day, or whether you just really don't have any interest in trading them, I find that it's very helpful just recognizing the tape, recognizing the environment, what's working, what's not working, and because it will form my, what I'm looking for trades, what types of setups are working, but also entrances and exits, right? In a strong trending tape, right? A strong bullish trending tape. What is working better? Well, breakouts are working, right? Breakouts are working. Stocks pulling back to moving averages, right? As long as they're in the trend, working. And what you've also been noticing, or at least what I've been noticing in particular this quarter, is that things that have gotten hit on earnings are bouncing back really fast. So moves down tend to be. I mean, there are obviously times when stocks get really hit very sharply and they don't bounce back as fast. But a lot of things are either not getting hit as hard or are getting hit and then bouncing back quickly right after it. So you have a smaller exit window on the downside versus, relatively speaking, a kind of a larger window on the upside. It seems that things are kind of grinding higher, right? Like pop and hold and grind higher, right? Versus on the downside, it like drop and maybe snap back really fast. You saw that kind of with some of these gaming stocks today, right? Got hit and snapped right back. Activision, get rid of these. So Activision, right? Got hit yesterday, and now it's starting to bounce back. So that's why I'm trying to be a little bit more diligent or a little bit quicker on the exits on things that are getting hit, because the tape is overall like a strong trending tape, and recognizing the environment, right? All right, so that's the first thing. And the second thing, again, something that I've been noticing, right? This is not a one-off thing. It's options. For whatever reason, you get a stock that historically is a large mover, proven over the last year, right? Like this stock, GRUB. So we're talking about GRUB. This stock over the last year has demonstrated numerous times, right? Basically every single quarter that it could have like a serious swing. So it's averaged about a 19-point move, between 18 and 20 points, give or take, on the 4 quarters that it's reported this over the last year. So going into earnings today, right? You see the stock in a really tight consolidation here, like pushing up into resistance, and you're taking a look at the chart and you see, okay, there's maybe room for 15 to 20 points higher, right? To either the 100A or into the 100 range, right? It's kind of like an air pocket between the 100A and the 200A up at 105. So theoretically, right, 15 to 20 points higher. With the stock yesterday at 84-ish, right? 84 to 85, that's where it was pushing up into yesterday. What's the downside? A retest of the December low, right? That's about 18 points. So you're looking at the chart. You see over the last year, historically, it's had some really big moves. I mean, this quarter was the smallest move, right? And just on that quarter, on that quarter, it moved about top to bottom, it moved about 8 to 9. So that was one of the smaller ones. But other than that, you had 3 quarters where it had monster moves. So it's averaged, say, it's 18 to 20. The stock has visibility on the chart, sitting in tight consolidation, visibility for 15 to 20 points higher, visibility for 15 to 20 points lower. And yet, coming into the week, right, we talked about this a couple times. I talked about it in the earnings on the radar video. I talked about it in our session on Monday night. The options were only pricing in like 10 points, 10.5 points. Yes, they got a little bit jacked up yesterday into it, but even then they were only pricing in 12 points. So something that's averaged closer to 20 over the last year with visibility for a 15 to 20 point move in either direction was only pricing in between 10 and 12, right, depending on where you got filled. To me, that's just that says opportunity. And obviously, I wasn't sure it was going to work, but the risk reward I thought was interesting because it's demonstrated over the past that it can have big moves. The chart indicates that there's room in either direction that could exceed the price to move. So that's why I thought it was worth the trade. Now, coming back down to the first thing I talked about in this video about exits, right? So when it got hit, the target on the trade was a retest of the December low. So when it started to get down to the area early, right, that's when I said it was probably the point where you want to start to look to close this thing out because stocks that have gotten hit hard have tended to bounce back quickly. And I wasn't anticipating as big of a bounce back as it has had, but still, I mean, it's one of these tapes where things that are down are rebounding quick. There's a strong bid underneath it. At some point, that'll probably change, but for right now, that's just how it is. So you don't have the luxury often of like sitting around and waiting for your exits on the downside. It's if you get the move into the range that you're looking, you have to act quicker. And a GRUB, you had to act because it actually came within 2 cents. Remarkably, it was down almost 18 points, between 17 and 18 points this morning, and it retested the December low within 2 cents. The December low was 66.64, right? Today's low 66.62. It's incredible. But I'm just, the point of the video is that there's plenty of opportunities out there if you know where to look, right? If you put the time in, you do your homework, and you kind of look outside the box, right? Do a little bit more screening besides just like glancing through and saying like the top names and maybe the ones you're most familiar with. I mean, there are a ton of opportunities out there, but you just have to like look under the surface a little bit. All right. So we are just about wrapping up another busy week of earnings. Still, they're not going to be as packed. The next few weeks aren't going to be as packed as what we've seen over the last 2-3 weeks. But still, definitely plenty of names that are going to move. And we are entering the period where we're starting to see more and more retail reports, right? Which historically are often pretty volatile. I mean, we had some numbers in January, but there's still plenty that didn't give numbers. So still a lot to look forward to with those. So I'd love to hear what you guys think, right? Were you guys in GRUB? How'd you trade GRUB? What are your thoughts going forward? I mean, like now that it's bouncing back, I mean, it's back up into the top of resistance and the trade's reset. I mean, now it could really go either way. I mean, there could be another big move in this over like the next 2 weeks. So you've already had the monster rebound. It's resetting back in resistance, and now there could be another trade coming. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. All right, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow.